Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar presented by Sufio and ReferralCandy. Today, we're going to be talking about selling internationally, how you can start your internationalization strategy on your e-commerce store and how you can expand beyond your geographical regions. We're going to share some tips on how you can make sure that your international strategy it's in shape and ready to go. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Raul. I'm the partner manager here at ReferralCandy. And with me today is Esan Hakbas, who is the head of partnerships at Sufio. And it's a pleasure for me to have him here with us today. Esan, how are you doing today?
Hi, Raul. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm super excited.
Great. So some quick notes before we dive into the webinar. So we're going to split it in two. So Esan's going to talk now, and he's going to share some tips on how you can make sure that your e-commerce is ready for internationalization. And then I'll take the second part of the webinar, and I'll talk about how you can use referrals to basically help your internationalization process. So this webinar is going to take about 60 minutes. There will be some interesting giveaways at the end of the webinar. So if you're looking for a new invoicing tool for your e-commerce store, I can totally recommend Sufio, and there will be some interesting giveaways at the end, some interesting deals both on Sufio and ReferralCandy if you're looking to set up a referral program on your store. And if you have any follow-up questions after the webinar, feel free to email us and we'll get back to you personally to answer those questions. So Esan, they're all yours.
Thank you. So here we're talking about 8 things you need to know before selling internationally. There are stores that they're good in local market and they started selling to local market, and at some point of time where they reach a cap or a milestone, they think about expanding their selling internationally or in going to new countries to increase their revenue or whatever their strategy and goals are. And so we got a lot of this, a lot about this from our clients, and wanted to do this, and we wanted to help them do that. So we created this content, which we also published on our blog before. Let me go through them all today. So there are a lot of things to consider when we want to go internationally. One of the things we started looking at this ground up, looking at it from why and where to expand to. So on the first and second slides, I'm going to talk about where and how you want to expand your business to. There are tools out there that you can use, and they can help you choose what countries you want to go to and why. So there's certain things you have to have in mind to do this properly. First, we'll talk about analytics. So for us to get the right insight and data to go to what country and to go internationally in general, we have to have the right analytics tool for us to gather all the so we can make some decisions. So we can leverage some tools like Google Analytics and Mixupanel, and we can track traffic that are coming to our online store, and that way we can start looking at some statistics of for example, what countries are people coming from more. So we can easily get those data from the analytics tool, which we then we can elaborate and make big decisions on how to expand our market. And there's this rule that we can consider expanding to a new market if the traffic, the incoming traffic from that particular country is more than 5% of the total traffic. So this is like a good sign for us to know that there is a good traction in a particular country that we can focus and expand to. The second thing I want to talk about is getting to know the new market. So not all markets are easy to get in. Not all of them are easy to start selling to, even before going to some advanced things like such as payment, shipping, or local legislations on invoices. Before going through all of them, we need to think about people. What are they looking for? Is the market ready, or are the people ready for buying my products? So this is like this reminds me of the main core of talking about marketing, which is to who and how. So like, to who are we selling to? Are these the right target market for our products? So that's where we really need to know the market. We need to study the market and research, do a proper research to understand what people wants in that market, and what are the trends of the shopping habits that they have. What is the is there any competition in the local market, which in most cases there are. So we need to have all of these in mind to make a mindful decision of where to go and where to expand. And then talking about marketing strategy, we can look into different marketing strategies that we can implement in that particular market for us to get the best of being there and selling more and getting more revenue. And so there are different strategies. For example, in different countries, different things can work. In one country, maybe referral program like ReferralCandy can help a lot, because people are used to do referrals a lot. This is like a culture of me, for example, sharing what I was actually reading a nice article about how Uber used their super famous referral program, and why in some other different countries they got different results. So it all comes from the culture of the people of that particular country. And also, like, sometimes we need to really looking into hiring a local person to facilitate our communication, our customer service, our marketing plan executions, and this is really important. Sometimes we need to look into. After talking about how to get the data and analyze the data of where to go, and also looking at the culture of the people and the benefits of us going to that particular market, then we're going to talk about some advanced things in e-commerce that are like payments, like shipping, like taxes, and all those other things. So we start with the third slide is talking about the payment methods. And so going to a new country, we need to look at what are the preferred ways for people to pay. So not all are willing to pay with a credit card. I have an example of a Middle East, for example, where I used to work there for 6 years in Dubai. Until like 6 years ago, 4 years ago, cash on delivery was the highest used method of payment in that region and that country. So then we had to think about, how are we able to do that? This is a tough question, because cash on delivery is something you can't do. You can't easily, like going to PayPal today and ask them to have a cash on delivery option for customers in Middle East, and that may not happen because they don't have the existence, they don't have the solution there. Sometimes there, for example, a shipping company, RMX, that are also handling the cash on delivery payments. So this is something you don't know until you find out. That was an example, and also some credit card companies may not be really working in some countries. For example, American Express is not famous in all countries and not even accepted. So that those are things that we should have in mind. And then number 4, we'll go into talking about international shipping options. So regulations are different, and this is something we should have in mind. Talking about international, the first thing comes to your mind is, okay, so internationally means there's a border, and when there's a border, there might be a custom, and also if the shipping provider that you are currently using is available on the other side of the border. So these are things that you should have in mind. Is your shipping provider working in that country? Is the regulations the same or different from your local country? And also, you need to start calculating what are the costs associated with the shipping, because that may be a differentiating factor for you to go to a market or another by comparing those. For example, talking about Canada and US. Okay, today, if I want to think about a Canadian store going to US versus going to UK, the first thing come to my mind is that we have this agreement called NAFTA that is really helping Canadian businesses to sell to US without paying custom fees and all those things. And it's really a good regulation that helps companies doing that. It's a good example of trying to compare the different options that you have. In comparing to UK, for example, you have because it's far away from here, you have to have in mind that your shipping costs will increase, the custom fee may come in place, and these are the factors that you have to in mind to make this decision. There are calculators that you can use, like EasyShip's tool, to help you understand what are the different options with different carriers that you have. And also, there are some apps, after doing all this calculation and after making the decision, then you have to have some tools that helps you create some shipping documents and labels for you. For example, in Sufio, we do that. We do, since we are having a multi-language and multi-currency solution, we do create documents for shipping labels and shipping documents, which are mandatory to have by sending a product away from the border. And then we come to talk about the language. Okay, so this is something really important. We from the beginning, when we started Sufio, this invoicing app, we understood that not all countries are speaking the same language. Sometimes it doesn't make a difference. When you, for example, read a blog or something like that, some information, you're getting online. But sometimes when it comes to e-commerce and a real transaction, that's a really an important factor to have in mind. We have, like, what we know is that by more language options, this will open new doors for your business to grow. And this is a fact. We should know that what languages are our customers using. And that actually, the first slide, if you remember, talking about analytics, those tools can help us find out and understand that. We can easily understand the browser language of our users, and we can sort sort them by use and popularity, and then we can make a decision on what languages our customers are using. Talking about Switzerland, okay, so there are many languages speaking being this country, and when you are going to sell there, it's not just a matter of shipping and payment and all those things. You have to have in mind that what are the languages that are being spoken in that country, and you have to ideally have your store translated to that country, to that language. And talking about translation, not just skimming it, not just using Google Translate, or just really using a legit translators and the services that you can use to do that. This is so important, and also impacted your SEO a lot, which is a great organic traffic driver to your website or e-commerce store. And the other thing is, there are tools out there to the local landing pages. Speaking of user experience, when I open up this website in a specific country, I want to see the website in my local language and local currency. This is something is really important, and also for SEO purposes. Google treat those websites that understand that differently, and it prioritize them in the result pages. So this is really important for us to consider. And also, some other piece of the pie that we need to consider is having this language supported in our support and help section. We have to have content, FAQ content in that language. We need to have custom. If we do have an online chat, we need to have a representative with that language, able to speak that language in our team, so it can take care of that. And this is really important, to drive more revenue and sales, thinking about international market. Then we talk about the sixth item, which is local currency. So as I said before, the best UX is that I open my website and I see the content in my language and in my currency. Why? Because a lot of reason I can name. One thing is trust, ease of use, not being complex that I have to do a calculation on everything. I may browse 100 products. I don't want to do the calculation for all of them, and that may be a reason for me to leave, which is not good, and we don't want that. So important to have the local currency conversions already there implemented, and this definitely enhanced the UX, and it's really important, and also a good evaluation factor of how and when to support the local currency maybe is to look at the customers and see if there's at least 5% of customers from that country. We need to support that, and this is like a good factor. We see the traction, we want to support that, we want to grow that, so that's where we go, and that's what we do. The good news is there are a lot of payment systems that are supporting this for us. And there are a lot of extensions, talking different e-commerce platforms that are doing this for us. Do this pre-calculated conversions that we can present to our website, and which will enhance the UX. And that's a good thing. And also at the same time, payment gateways, a lot of them are helping us, and integrated with different currencies, which will end up making our lives easier doing that. Number 7, talk about taxes and regulations. So now we're talking, taxes and maybe regulation. This is a tough one. This is something that sometimes you need to really understand. You need to have a deep knowledge of different markets and regions with different legislations. That's it's a little bit complicated, thinking about accounting things, thinking about some of the things that are, sounds complicated, like doing your income taxes. This is something complicated, versus, you just go buy a car very fast, comparing those two, when you get to the time of year that you need to fill up your taxes, that's where think twice. You think, should I do it myself? Should I hire an expert? How can I do it to make it the best? Because taxes are tricky. If you do it right, you get more revenue. You get to handle things properly. You get to make better decisions. So that's where you have to research that how much of tax you need to charge for that specific region. And then thinking about B2B, the story changes. Then you have to charge, you don't need to charge taxes in most cases of the business to the business customers. These are things to have in mind. And you should ask yourself, is my platform able to, if not, is there a third party I can integrate that can handle this for me? And these are the questions you need to ask. But the good news is that there are great apps and third-party developers with great solutions out there that you can reach out and install and use them to facilitate taxes. And also you can talk with a tax expert and do a research. But the tools out there, they really help you a lot in most cases, because it's becoming a routine right now. Doing this. So the last but not least, we're talking about invoicing, our beloved subject. So that what we do in Sufio. So in most countries, it's mandatory to issue an invoice for every online purchase. That may for some people and so because of that, which is a mandatory thing, we need to have the invoice selling to certain countries, and also selling wholesale. You are obliged to issue a proper invoice. This is not something like an option. You need to do that, and doing proper invoicing will help you keep your books in order. So this is really important, that if you do this right, that'll make your life easier when you're doing your books and taxes and all those things, and accounting. This is really important, because the invoice is the most important piece of paper that you hand over to the client, and has the most updated information there. Was there any coupon applied? How many different taxes that apply to this particular order? What is the customer name? What is the item details? But there's like tons of information. Whatever you need is on an invoice. So it really helps you when you have them in all done right. Then you have a better chance of doing the rest of your business, like more of a back office things properly. So, and Sufio, we're helping a lot of more than 3,000 store owners, helping with their invoices. So we are a plug and play solution. You just in different like Shopify, in BigCommerce, you can easily install it through the App Store, and you can have it installed in a couple of minutes. And when doing that, we manage all the invoices. So for any order created, we do create an invoice. We understand. We automatically capture the destination and the customer address, and based on there, we create a compliant invoice to that region for that country, with all the elements that are required. If there is a VAT required to be there, if the customer is a business, how to treat the business, how to treat the customers, and also multi-language and multi-currency. We support different countries with different languages, different currencies, all that you need to have to go global. And this is going globally is one of the main reasons that our clients are choosing us, because we are making their life so much easier. We are already connected with a lot of countries, tax providers, for example, in Europe, for the main source, for example, in the case of Shopify, the main platform to validate their VATs for Shopify clients. And it's not only that, so we do a lot of back office integrations to make sure that all the tax numbers and everything is in order. And that's about it. So we do have a surprise for you. I think Raul will talk about it a bit later, but we do give away 20% off Sufio subscription by going to this URL, try.referralcandy.com/Sufio. I hope, so let me just stay here a little bit longer. Try.referralcandy.com/Sufio. It's been a pleasure talking today with Raul and being in this webinar with Raul. So I just hand it over to you back, Raul, and thank you for the time and for this opportunity you shared with us.
Thank you so much. I mean, we all learn a lot, me included. So it was great. I mean, you cover a lot of different areas, which I think most of them it's just about common sense. You're entering a new country. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of research that you have to do. And I feel like you cover most of the areas that are probably the most important pain points that an entrepreneur will face, right?
Thank you. And to everybody, if you have any questions about what I said, and if you want to know about us, just feel free to drop me an email. I'll be more than happy to contact you back.
Sounds good. All right, so let's go into the second part of the webinar. So let me share my screen with you guys real quick. All right. Let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, sounds good. All right, so the second part of the webinar, it's about how you can use referrals to boost your international strategy. So I'm gonna cover 3 main points after the 8 points that we saw in the first part of the webinar, and these are gonna be focused on referrals and word of mouth, basically, and how you can use it to leverage that in your international strategy. So we all know entering a new market, it's tough. We saw that, excuse me, during the first part of the webinar. There's a lot of things you have to that you have to take care of, basically because it's an unknown land. You have a lack of connections in that new country that you're entering. You might have a lack of positioning, maybe as a brand, and you haven't built a name yet for your company. So that's why referrals can be a powerful tool to enter new markets, and I'm going to explain why. These are the 3 things that I'm going to cover. So the first of all is how to turn local customers into salespeople, and why that's something that you should do for your business when you're looking to expand internationally. Also, how you can leverage user-generated content. Kind of like to create a sense of who you are for these new customers. And also something that this is actually a request that I've gotten from some e-commerce owners, is that how they can get started with influencers, especially when they're starting to create a relationship with influencers in other countries to kind of like help them enter these new geographical areas. So we're going to talk about that also at the end of the webinar, how to leverage influencers in your new country. So I'm sure you've seen the typical funnel that basically shows how you can convert visitors into customers, and you see that this funnel has the typical funnel structure and drawings. It's wider at the top than at the bottom. I always like to switch it and turn it upside down to show what you can do after you have acquired a customer. So what you can do when you already have that customer that has made a purchase on your store. Many e-commerce store owners tend to forget about them. It's like, okay, we got this person to look at our website, to look at our product, to make a purchase. It's done. But actually, that's just the beginning of a new relationship with that person. Now they are your customers. They have your product. They can recommend it. So there's three main areas that I like to cover on this, on how you can turn customers into advocates. The first step, it's retaining those customers. So basically, as long as you have a good product and a good purchasing experience in general, even if there was some sort of trouble or problem that the customer faced during checkout or during this somewhere in the purchasing process, you probably had a good customer support team that was there to support them and to solve any issues that they have. So you're basically retaining that customer by saying, hey, we're a legit company. We are our product's great. You can taste it. You have it in your hands right now, and you can taste it. You can see it. You can see how it looks like and how it works. And if there's any problem with it, you have an amazing support team that is going to help you. So those are great things that you can do to retain your existing customers and to re-engage them for future purchases. What you do once you have retained your customers, that you can invite them to join your referral program. You can invite these loyal customers to say, hey, you know what? If you like our product, if you like our brand, our company, you believe in what we do, here's how you can recommend us to your friends and family. Here's what you can get in exchange. And just basically let word of mouth do its job. So have them spread the word about your store. Now, if you are an existing e-commerce business that has been around for, let's say, a few years, and you already have recurring customers, and you have a pretty good traffic of transactions, you already know that you're already getting word of mouth sales. You're getting referral sales already. The only thing is that if you don't have a referral program in place, first of all, it's hard for you to keep track of those referral transactions. And then second, it's hard for you to keep incentivizing your customers to go back and refer you to their friends and family. So that's why it's super important to have a referral program, some sort of referral incentive for your existing customers, so they don't forget about talking to their friends and family about you. But why is word of mouth so powerful? So I brought up a few stats just very quickly so you can see what I'm talking about. 70% of US consumers say that they trust brand and product recommendations from friends and family. And only 15% of those consumers say that they trust posts created and shared by brands on social media accounts. So basically, obviously, we trust friends and family recommendation over content marketing. And also, people trust recommendations from friends up to 7 times more than they do on traditional advertising. So again, we are surrounded by advertising, by content marketing. So anything that you can do to stand out from your competition, it's going to give you a head start. So, but why are your customers your best salespeople? And why can they help you enter new markets? First of all, they are your best salespeople because they know your value proposition like no one else does. They probably know your value proposition better than your salespeople do. And this is because they trusted you. They trusted your value proposition with their own money. They liked your product so much that they were able and they were happy to pay for it. So also, people love giving recommendations. Think about the last time you wrote on a group chat, hey, I'm looking to buy a new computer. Can you guys give me recommendations? Think about how many recommendations, how many comments you got from people that had nothing to earn from computer companies, but they were happy to share the recommendations and also their knowledge. People love talking about things they know. And so again, referrals are going to happen organically, but if you have some sort of incentive to boost those referrals, that's actually gonna make a difference on your e-commerce store. And the most important part, in my opinion, is that their audience finds them trustworthy and definitely not salesy. So, I can talk about ReferralCandy right now, but you can tell that I'm gonna sound salesy because I'm gonna try to sell ReferralCandy to you. But if you're talking about Sufio, or if you're talking about ReferralCandy to your friends and family after this webinar, you're gonna talk to them about, or maybe an e-commerce store owner that needs a new invoicing solution, and you're like, hey, Sufio looks great. They should definitely use it. You're not gonna sound salesy to that person because you're just providing useful information to your friend or that person that you know that owns an e-commerce store. So again, it's about trust, and it's about the confidence that their network, their close network, has on your customers. All right, so that was the first part about how you can turn your salespeople, your customers into your salespeople, and why that's so important in your internationalization strategy. And now let's talk about UGC, so user-generated content, and why that's important. So before I get on this, I liked something that we heard during the first part of the webinar that was all about transparency and making things easier for your customers. So there was several areas where SN talked about this. So one of them was about show your new customers in a new country, show them the prices on their currency, and maybe add a new payment process or kind of like payment gateway that it's friendly with what they're used to in their country. So, you're making things easier. So it's all about making sure that your customers having an easy experience. And also don't forget that you might be new to this country. So your new customers don't know much about you. Maybe they haven't really heard from you. They don't have a name. You don't have a brand yet. So the more transparent that you can be with your new customer, the better. And user-generated content, it's the e-commerce equivalent of touching the product on a physical store. And it's so transparent that you're basically letting your customers say, you know what, you're going to share my future customers how the product actually looks like. Instead of having a professionally taken picture, I'm going to let you take a picture with your phone, which is going to be a lot worse than one taken with a professional camera. But that's going to help my customers see how it will look like once they have it in their hands. So actually, this is related to what we're going to see at the end of the webinar, but a lot of stores are using this right now. So they are featuring pictures that their customers are taking on Instagram, especially because people love taking good quality pictures, especially on Instagram. And so once they find these pictures, they share them on their website, and it's a way of saying, look, this is not us. These are our customers. This is not us taking a professionally taken picture in a professional studio. These are people taking pictures with their iPhones and uploading them to Instagram. See how it looks like in real life. This is what real life looks like. So it's a way for you as a potential customer to see how it will feel in your hand, how it will feel, holding the product yourself. So this is I'm seeing this in a lot of stores right now, and I feel like it's a very smart way of, first of all, engaging with your customers, because your customers are going to like that you featured their photo on your website, but also for prospective customers, this is a great way of showing them how it looks like outside of a professional taking portrait. So there's this debate, content marketing versus user-generated content, and let's see this debate, and let's see this these two options side by side. So this is the same product. It's a hammock. So on the left side, you have a professionally taken picture, and you also have a professionally written description. So you can see it's got bold and versus regular text to kind of like create a sense of to make the reading experience easier. It has short sentences, goes straight to the point. You can see how the product is perfectly placed, the hammock and the hooks and the strings and everything. So you can see everything that includes. Versus on the other side, on the right side, you see a review from an existing customer. So, well, the text, it's definitely not as perfectly written as it is here on the left side, because this Jesse, he's probably not a professional writer. So he just probably typed in that from his phone as he thinks. So he probably didn't sit down and think about, okay, what's the review that I'm going to write? How can I feature this product well? No, he's just writing what he thinks about the product as he types. And the picture, as you can see, you can't really see the product that well. I mean, you can see it in action. You can see it that he hooked it to a couple of palm trees, and you can kind of see how it looks like. But the line is not the best. But there's too much kind of confusion in the picture. So, however, to me, as a prospect or as a potential customer, that gives me more information than the one on the left does, because I can see it from a customer. That person doesn't have probably any sort of incentive to sell that to me. I'm just looking at a review. I'm just looking at how the product looks. So what does this have to do with internalization? Think about what we said at the beginning. You probably, when you're entering a new market, you might not have a name yet. You might have competitors that make it hard for you to enter that new country. So the fact that your existing customers, the first few customers that you're acquiring, are taking pictures of your product, writing reviews, are explaining how the product looks like, it's a sign of transparency that potential customers are going to appreciate when they're browsing your product, and also adds you a little bit of street cred. It's all about saying, look, there's people from X country that are already buying from us. So there's nothing to fear. There's nothing that you should be worried about. We're going to ship it to you. Especially if you can get your customers to take pictures in areas where they can totally see that that's the new country that you're entering. That's going to attract new customers to make a purchase from you, because they see that, well, shipping works. You can go through the payment process with no headaches. So it's all about making it easy for your potential customers, especially if they're new. And so again, user-generated content, it's 35% more memorable than any other media. It's 50% more trusted, especially because even though I don't know Jesse here, I don't know who this person is, but I know they're a customer. I know that, or I can at least expect that they are a customer. They paid for that product, same as I'm about to do. So you might not trust this with the same level of trust that you will trust something coming from your family and friends. But still, I mean, when we buy from Amazon or when we buy from any Shopify store, we tend to go to the comments and see what people are saying. Even if we don't know that person who's writing the comment, we still give them some sort of credibility. And user-generated content, it's 20% more influential. So it does influence on purchasing decisions. And that's something, talking about influencers, we're going to talk about that at the very end of the webinar. So this is the last section. It's how to partner with local influencers, how they can help you enter a new country. So this is a picture from an influencer. As you can see, it has over 7,000 likes. This is an influencer from San Diego, California, and the company that it's tagged there, it's Blenders Eyewear. So we had the chance to talk to the CEO of Blenders Eyewear here at ReferralCandy for one of our webinars, and we asked them about how they leverage their relationship with influencers. I'll go over this at the end, and I'll show some bullet points on how you can start a relationship with influencers. But what he explained was very interesting, because he described step by step how they started their relationship and how they basically turned influencer marketing into one of their most cost-effective and most effective at the end of the day marketing channels that they had, especially during the early days. So they're based in San Diego, California. So something that they did is that they started reaching out to local influencers and used that proximity as a way to kind of leverage their relationship with these new influencers. So they will reach out to them, say, hey, we're Blenders Eyewear. We are a new sunglasses company, and we would like to see, if there's any work that we can do together. Our office is here, so feel free to walk by, and we'll get you a coffee, we'll get you a beer, and we can give you a pair of sunglasses and chat and see how we can work together. So in this case, that's something that you probably cannot afford to do. It's just fly to a new country and meet these people in person. But if you can create a local type of network of influencers first, and then once you have that, you create some sort of credibility around your brand, influencers from other countries will kind of fall into the same category, and they will see that if you have an existing successful relationship with influencers, they will be more open to do it as well. So again, if you are already working with local influencers or nationwide influencers, that's great. Feel free to reach out to people that are kind of like in your same level. So maybe don't go after the big fish, go after people with let's say several tens of thousands of followers that you can start working with, especially because they're also more cost effective. Most of these bottom or medium tier influencers would promote you just for your product, so that can really make a difference. And another sunglasses brand, this is actually from Spain, they also leverage influencer marketing and word of mouth marketing from the very beginning. So I will consider influencer marketing as just as one way of doing word of mouth marketing. The only difference versus traditional advertising is that these people have a network of people that follow them because they are experts somehow on a specific topic. So they might be experts on fitness or fashion or music or whatever it is, but people follow them because they like what they see from this person. These are not athletes, these are not movie stars. So when influencers endorse your product, it goes a long way, because these people, for them, endorsing a product that it's not good, it actually hurts them. You can have an athlete promoting a new car, and then that new car can end up being a fiasco, but that's not going to hurt them. That's not going to hurt their image, because we already assume that these people are doing it for money, that athletes or movie stars, if they are promoting a product, let's say George Clooney promoting Nespresso, let's assume that Nespresso now goes bankrupt, or something weird happens. No one's going to blame George Clooney. No one's going to think, oh, I wonder what George Clooney did here to make that happen. But for influencers, it's a whole different story. These people have credibility within their network. So for them promoting a product, they have to make sure that it's going to be beneficial not only for themselves, but also for the network. So Hawkers actually did this in a very, very, very smart way from the very beginning. They started reaching out to people, even when the term influencer wasn't really famous. It was about 6-7 years ago. So the influencers didn't really exist. I wonder if Instagram actually was around back then. So they started reaching out to people on Facebook that had a lot of friends, and that they could tell that they were very active, but also had a lot of likes and a lot of comments on everything that they posted on Facebook. And they started giving them free sunglasses. So they continue that up until this point, when they are they have over 100 employees, and they're a very successful e-commerce store. And they keep working with influencers. And actually, the way they do something very, very smart is the fact that they have these product pages. As you can see, this is actually a product page from Hawkers. And it's a mix between user-generated content and a product page. So that picture wasn't taken by Hawkers. It was actually taken by this influencer herself and posted on her Instagram. And as you can see here, she had a personal code, so people can join, people can buy sunglasses from her personal code, so her discount coupon. So it's a perfect mix. And I actually left this slide for the very end of the webinar, because it combines the three main areas that we've talked about. It's local influencers. So let's assume that this girl who's posing in the picture, maybe she's from Brazil or from Australia, from some sort of new country that you want to enter. So she is promoting your brand with their following base. Second, you ask her to join a referral program. So she's probably getting some sort of reward, monetary reward, for every transaction that she's generating for Hawkers. And at the end of the day, excuse me, you are using influencers and user-generated content to populate your own product pages. So it's just, I feel like it combines all the three main areas that we discussed, and I think it's very smart. It's a very smart way of using user-generated content. So we're getting towards the end. So how to use user-generated content to boost your referrals, especially when you're entering a new country. So carefully select your first influencers. Reach out to them personally. Tell them who you are. Tell them what the company does. Don't just say, hey, if you place this link on your Instagram bio, we'll give you 20% of every transaction. No, get to talk to them. Create a personal relationship, if you can, with these people. Try to get on calls. Try to understand what they do, and let them know what you have in mind for your brand. Start a conversation with them and keep it personal. So make sure that before you start sending them free samples so they can take pictures on Instagram, make sure that you understand that you're both on the same line and that they are excited about your product and your project of internationalization. So obviously reward them for sharing your store, and make sure that they're given some sort of discount to the new customers as well. And constantly remind them that your referral program exists and that they can keep publishing articles or pictures or videos about your product and sharing it with their network, because it's going to be one of the most cost-effective ways of entering new markets for you as well. All right, so we are at the end of the webinar. I'm going to invite Esan to join the call again, so we can wrap this up. So same way with Sufio, both Sufio and I are offering some deals so you can get started on our apps. So you can get $50 off on ReferralCandy after your 30-day free trial, and our plans start at $49 a month. So basically what it does is that it extends your free trial to 60 days instead of 30, but you get those $50 off on your subscription after the 30-day free trial. All you have to do is go to try.referralcandy.com/Sufio. Again, that's try.referralcandy.com/Sufio. And there you'll be able to see both Sufio's and ReferralCandy's promo. And if you have any questions, my email is RAULG, that's RaulG @referralcandy.com. And actually we'll send you all this information with the replay. If you weren't able to make it, you'll be able to watch the replay and access the perks that we are offering today. So it was a pleasure being here with you guys and with you, Esan. I hope you liked it. Hey guys, we'll see you next time. Thank you again. Bye bye.